You want to know how to create an engaging and interesting evil race for your fantasy setting? Here's my #1 tip. Don't. There's a different approach that works much better from a world-building perspective. The trope that the whole race of sentient, self-aware beings with free will is just evil by nature is just bad and boring. I mean, free will and being evil by design is kind of contradicting, don't you think? We don't need to talk about morals or racism here at all. For me, there's only one simple reason to not use this overused trope. It just closes a lot of story opportunities. If you just want to create a simple good versus evil combat heavy story, I will not try to stop you. But if you want to deepen your world building and create opportunities for the plot to unfold in different directions, here are my thoughts on that. What we really want to create when we think about an evil race is an evil opposing force. Think nations, organization, cultures, something with a huge influence on the behavior and the people living in the area. There are two main advantages to that. First, it makes individual evil characters more meaningful. Second, it leaves more room for characters with interesting agencies. Race and culture are too often mixed up in fantasy world building. I talk a little bit more about that topic in my 8 thoughts on fantasy races. I link the video up in the corner if you are interested. In short, race influences the physical aspect of an individual, while the social aspects like moral or the value of education are mostly influenced by the culture the person lives and grows up in. Examples of properties bound to race are the height, the ability to see in the dark, or even something more specific like being more hot-headed and passionate. Let me further iterate on the last property and give you an example of how to separate the racial and the cultural component of this trait. Let me introduce you to the Orks of the World of Earthdawn. They have something called Gahat, which translates to stomach ache. Whenever an orc is not following their passion and their desires, they feel a strong pain in their stomach that can even lead to them dying. This means that orcs tend to act instead of thinking too much and follow their desire with great passion. But this does not make them pillaging and murdering brutes by design. They could be poets that have to express their love for the nature around them. They could be stonemasons that have to work a stone if they find the perfect one. And they could as well be a brutal fighter that flourishes on the battlefield. This trait makes the Orks of Earthdawn neither good nor evil. How they express their passion depends on their culture and the individual themselves. An angry orc might just beat you up, but they could as well tell you what they think of you directly to your face and then just go away. Hey adventurer, Koroc here. A quick side note, I regularly play games with the community from my Discord server in my live streams. If you want to join in on the fun, make sure to join as well. The link is down in the doobly-doo. So if we are not talking about physical manifestations of evil, more on these later, we want to focus on the cultural influence rather than the racial aspect. We want to start out building a culture and twist it a little to turn some aspects into extremes that manifest as something considered evil. It can be straightforward, like an expansionist empire that thinks of themselves as more culturally advanced than other civilized neighboring societies and starts a conquest to spread their superior way of life. The thing is that they actually could be more advanced and have an actually good way of life. What turns it evil is the way they behave to the outside world. Think of the Firenation from Avatar: The Last Airbender. The people from that nation might actually think that they are better due to indoctrination, but a normal citizen that is not directly involved in the conquest like a farmer is not necessarily evil. Even soldiers could be good and nice people that just do their job as well as they can. But still, the Firenation as a whole is the opposing force in the story, driven by an evil emperor. You could also create something a little bit more complex, like the Drow from the webcomic Drowtales. There you have a huge mega city in the Underdark governed by an empress. The different territories are all governed by different clans with different agendas. Each thinks their way of approaching things is for the greater good and benefiting all Drow if only they could rule supreme. There is a lot of fighting for power between different clans, and alliances are constantly forged and betrayed. Even though the individuals seem to have good intentions at first, their methods are questionable, and the whole culture supports a rule of the powerful approach. It was the first time I saw a really nuanced approach to an evil Drow society without solely focusing on the worship of evil gods or slavery. The culture and society are unquestionably evil, but this does not mean the characters are by default. It is more that they are drawn in, and even if you want to change something, you have to play by the rules of your surroundings, while the game is slowly changing you. This way, you can have friendly NPCs NPCs slowly descending into more ruthless ways, or have seemingly evil rivals actually be fallen heroes or noble souls in disguise. Having an evil society or culture does not imply that everyone is considering everything that is happening to be good or even justified. Maybe it's a necessary evil for them, or just how things are. Not everyone tries to change the world. That is why we have adventuring parties and heroes after all. Focus on individual evil beings that flourish in that environment and use it for their own power. In contrast to the other characters that just play by the rules, these are the true evil antagonists, the BBEGs of your world. If you just need an evil force, there's the easy option to just use monsters with no free will, that are just driven by instinct or guided by the will of an evil entity. Doing this gives you an easy way out. They are evil because they are manifestations of evil, without their own agency. This opens an interesting opportunity where they gain free will when the source of their evil is defeated. Now they are capable of deciding on their own and developing a unique personality. But hey, if we really want to create an evil race without cultural depth, we can always make them slavers. I hope this approach can help you the next time you want to world build an evil opposing force. What overused tropes to create an evil race do you have seen out there? If you made it this far, you might as well subscribe to join in on the journey and secure yourself advantage on all roles to spot future videos. Your Dungeon Master for this video was Koroc DM, and I hope you join me next time.